Welcome to the To Be Human podcast, episode 43 on promises. So, today I want to talk about, promises, when a person, promises to do a thing, whatever it may be, promises as some people fail to keep their promises or have false promises, which, is not great. And when you make a promise, you should, like, try and keep it. But, there's always times where it could, be like broken just because of circumstance. Like, I know I've, failed some promises just because, like, how my mind has changed over time. Like, I want to, try and, include people in things. Like, I've, previously made promises for this podcast, quite fittingly enough. But since it always seems that, when I do allow people a chance to join or whatever, it hasn't always gone well, like, or not what I want, or it's just, never gone well. Plus, the VR chat stuff and SCP Secret Lab stuff and S Pixel Gun 3D stuff by effect. But yeah, it's just annoying that I had to break one of my promises just because, trying to do online stuff it's not always easy. So, a few bad eggs, ruin it for, the good people, like the majority, like, and like, since, the only people that, I ever seem to get, like, anything out of is the, bad majority, like, well, not majority, minority, the bad eggs, uh, um, it definitely does not help, like, things, like, it definitely does not help me, trust that things will go well and smoothly, like, if it, constantly happens. So yeah, it means that I've failed some of my promises. Hopefully one day, like, it'll be something I can, once time is set, maybe there'd be a chance to, make certain reverse, the current state of things and eventually, keep it. So it might technically be a failed promise now, but it might not be forever, but I guess time will tell. And the longer it goes without being resolved means that the longer and more likely that will actually be a permanent failed promise. But there's still a chance, there's always a chance for things to be better, so eventually it'd be something that I would want to keep. Although with me ending the podcast, it also comes a fact of time is running short for the podcasts, at least for now. Like the current era of the podcast will wrap up eventually, so the promise will be failed by the fact I'm, planning to end the podcast. So it's like a lose-lose scenario, and it's gonna be very hard for when the come at the end to me to keep my own promise. But yeah, but most of the time I actually try and keep my promises no matter what. Just, certain things are gonna change on the situation. So yeah, and it's just unfortunate that bad eggs ruin things, and yeah. But yeah, um, um, that, yeah, promises, if you make a promise, you should keep it. If it gets broken, try and find a way to amend for it, or, find a way to keep it in the future, and don't make false promises, like, it's not great. But yeah, honestly, I don't have a lot else to say about promises, and, promises are, you know, like a key thing in life, so don't neglect them, and be certain to keep your promises. Hopefully, I can amend mine. Just two factors means that it's going to be very hard to keep it. Obviously, if the podcast comes back a later stage, like the podcast re-begins at any point, then there's a chance me to, I guess, like, amend, but, yeah, it, definitely would make things, somewhat, challenging if things don't go the way I want, but yeah. But, always, not else to say than keep your promises, don't make false promises. But yeah, otherwise I'm just gonna keep repeating myself. So I think that'll do it for this podcast episode. Like, there's not a lot else to say, so thank you for watching this podcast episode, and peace until the next one.